Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend. I'm Jason Godbey, and we're back with more films from this year's Mill Valley Film Festival. But first, we got a brief word from the sponsors.
Brought to you by BlackMagic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. BlackMagicDesign.com, the Tonkawa Film Festival, celebrating short films from around the world. Tonkawafilmfestival.com, and by Dehancer. Use the promo code RABBIT to receive 10% off Dehancer products. Dehancer.com.
And joining me now, you know him, you love him. He's our man on the West Coast and the man behind ActuallyPaid.com. Welcome back, Mr. Bill Hammon.
Hey!
Uh, you're back again. We got more. You really you shotgunned like a dozen movies into your. You just kind of like ingested 12 movies into your eye holes, kind of thing.
I mean, it's healthier than shotgunning 12 beers, I guess.
Right. But we appreciate it, and you do good work. We got more movies to talk about. What this week is your first item up for bid?
So yeah, this is going to be one of the major players, I think, come award season. This is Blue Moon. It was nominated for the Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. Andrew Scott won the Silver Bear for Best Supporting Actor. That tells you a lot because this is what I call a Best Actor showcase. A movie that almost exists entirely to spotlight one performer. In this case, Ethan Hawke. He was previously nominated for an Oscar for Training Day, 25 years ago. He is angling hard for one this time. And I'd definitely say it's worthy of some serious consideration. On my personal list, I would say Michael B. Jordan and Leonardo DiCaprio are ahead of him, but he's a solid number 3, definitely worthy of a nomination from what I've seen so far. Ethan Hawke stars as Lorenz Hart. That's a name that you may or may not know, depending on how familiar you are with musical theater and the Great American Songbook and all that stuff. Lorenz Hart was the former writing partner with Richard Rodgers. Before there was Rodgers and Hammerstein, there was Rodgers and Hart. And Blue Moon was one of the biggest songs they wrote. It's been covered so many times. It's literally the theme song for Manchester City Football Club in England. It's had a huge legacy. This movie takes place almost entirely at Sardi's restaurant in the theater district, where they got all the caricatures on the wall. So it takes place in 1943 on the opening night of Oklahoma on Broadway at the St. James Theater. That was the first major musical with Rodgers and Hammerstein as a duo. Lorenz Hart watches it and is just so ticked off at its poppy banality that he leaves the theater and goes to the bar, where he basically spends the entire movie complaining to the bartender, played by Bobby Cannavale, doing some yeoman's work right there, complaining to Patrick Kennedy playing E.B. White. There's even like a cheeky moment where we imply that Lorenz Hart accidentally came up with the inspiration for Stuart Little. There's some fun to be had here. You got to have these drinks because Hawke is chewing the scenery like the finest, tastiest bacon. Okay? He is just riffing for sometimes 10 minutes straight on the unfairness of the industry, the fact that his vices, cost him his career, his obsession with a young woman named Elizabeth, who's kind of his protege, played by Margaret Qualley, and trying to figure out if she actually has feelings for him. And if you've ever been friend zoned, you know exactly where it's going. This is a film and a story about someone who was essentially left behind. We all know Rodgers and Hammerstein. That is the iconic duo of American theater. Lorenz Hart does not have that kind of legacy, despite writing things like Blue Moon, all these classic shows from the 20s and 30s. No one says Rodgers and Hart anymore. No one puts them together. So this is the spot for Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater as the director to basically let him own the room one last time. And that's where using this as a best actor showcase actually works pretty well. Yeah, we get the after party for the Oklahoma premiere. Andrew Scott comes in as Richard Rogers, does a tremendous performance, basically trying to work the room, pretend to be humble, and offer support to his friend while also pushing him away. Hawk, he just leans into every moment to the point where you just kind of want to take a drink yourself to alleviate the stress in your own mind about how you just know this is not going to end well. Spoilers: the film opens with him dying and then flashes back. I mean, we're not pulling any punches here. This takes place 80 plus years ago. We know he's not around anymore. It's nothing is being revealed here, but it's the idea of, this was his last shot to basically be at his best, and it has to, by necessity, it has to come in the shadow of others. I think Ethan Hawke really sells this beautifully. Also, strong credit to the makeup team. You don't see Ethan Hawke. If you see Lorenz Hart in this movie, there are more scenes where he looks like Martin Short than Ethan Hawke. And the mannerisms are more in line with a Martin Short style of comedy at times, but Hawk just owns it. I mean, this is the kind of movie, again, it is pure Oscar bait. Don't pretend it isn't for a second, but it's very good Oscar bait. You know, I always love Linklater movies where he leaves Texas. We all know his love affair with his home state, and those movies like Boyhood and others, those are good. Those are really good films. But when he leaves Texas and tells a story about a person without the location being a part of it, that always enhances it to me. Honestly, the biggest knock I give to this film, the biggest demerit that it gets, is it's on a meta level, because this is a movie about someone who, again, in essence, hit his peak, and due to a combination of industry moves and his own shortcomings, fell off, got left behind, lost his legacy, lost his livelihood. And you would think that Linklater and the production would be sensitive to that kind of stuff, especially because it's going on right now for a lot of people. So rather than actually filming at Sardi's, they built Sardi's in Dublin and filmed in Ireland. To quote the late great Don Adams, missed it by that much. It's like, you got to be aware of that. I mean, when that is the central theme of your film, you can't then commit that sin. So I do have to dock it a couple points for that, but as the actual piece of entertainment, as an actual showcase for Ethan Hawke to prove that he really has, come on as an actor in the last 20 years, this is really solid. And just for my own sour grapes, I hate Oklahoma too. Every complaint that Lorenz Hart has about Oklahoma, I have had. I know it's well written and well done and people love it, but every time I hear "and two bits," or, farmer in the plowman and can't say no, like, all these things, I may be even, mixing in different shows, but like, apart from "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," I have never been able to stand Oklahoma. So maybe I'm internalizing this film a little bit too much, and maybe I'm kind of seeing it as a cautionary tale for my own career. But yeah, I Lorenz Hart, I felt you, buddy.
I do definitely want to catch it. I reviewed Linklater's other film this year, Nouvelle Vague, at New York. And, I assume that he filmed in Ireland because he was also maybe prepping or doing the other movie. And that was maybe easier to do on that's across the ocean. Also, you can't film in Sardi's. Like, that's impossible. There's never not people in Sardi's, and it's in Times Square. Like, it's impossible. It's right across the street from Schubert Alley. I've been by there like a million times. Small quibble. I definitely do want to see the movie. Also, for you musical theater heads out there, Lorenz Hart wrote the lyrics for Connecticut Yankee, Babes in Arms, Pal Joey. Like he does have Boys from Syracuse, so he does have a career. And people who are in the know, they will say they will say Rodgers and Hart and Rodgers and Hammerstein, but Richard Rodgers, the composer, has a theater named after him, and Hart sadly does not. What else you got there?
All right, here's another animated film. It's called Hola Frida. This has been touring around the festivals, and it's actually had a couple of short runs in art house theaters publicly. Imagine the life of Frida Kahlo as an animated film done like a Richard Scarry book, as far as the art style, but incorporating Kahlo's art style as well. It's really fascinating. It's primarily a French production, but again, there's an English dub, and the film largely focuses on Kahlo's youth, growing up with her parents, going to school, with her little sister and everything like that. And there's a lot of like small vignettes of just life lessons and bits of inspiration that in her art, because she kept journals her entire life. So like these stories are based on her journal entries. And you kind of see the foundations of her love of art, her ambitions to be a doctor that were never realized because of medical issues of her own. One of the big moments here is that she deals with I believe it's either tuberculosis or polio. And as she's recovering, she's basically imagining this nether space world where a projection of herself is negotiating with an embodiment of death. But like a Dia de los Muertos skeleton as the personification. That's as dark as the film gets, obviously, but even then, it's kind of light in the sense that it's trying to convey to a young audience that death is an inevitability. It is a part of life. It will happen for all of us one way or another, and it's not so much about fighting and surviving. It's coming to terms with mortality while still saying, hey, life is still worth living. Pursue every second you have. Find your passions, live them, make friends, feed the stray dogs on that you meet in the streets. Like live those moments. And I think that's a tremendous message for the kids. I love Frida's design as basically like a 9-year-old, but she's still got the unibrow. It's very endearing. Honestly, the one part that didn't work as well was in the last 10 minutes where we flashed to her adulthood, when she's in college and she has her second brush with death in the bus accident that nearly cost her life when she was 19. That was covered in a documentary about her on Amazon last year that got shortlisted by the Academy. It's like Frida Kahlo was just a fascinating person. I love learning about her, especially through these artistic media. This is a really strong entry point if children want to learn about her. I remember I saw this in a normal public theater. It wasn't part of the festival that I saw it the first time, but now it's in this festival and it's been in several others. I think it even played at Annecy earlier this year. But when I saw it for the first time, it was just in a small, normal public theater, an indie theater, and a mother brought her 6-year-old daughter with her, and this kid was just locked in, engaged in every moment, wide-eyed, jaw dropped. She was fascinated with it, and it's like, if we just reach that one girl, the film has accomplished its goals. If one creative spark is lit for that young of a person, the film has done its job. I absolutely tip my hat to this. This is a fantastic production. And again, the art style is very bright and colorful and memorable, gets the messages across, and as an adult you can enjoy it on a purely aesthetic level, but for that little girl, this could have been the moment that set her on a different path. This could have changed her life. I could just see it on her face as she and her mom walked out of the theater. It's like, man, that's what film is supposed to be about. That's what art is supposed to be about. Lighting that fire in someone's spirit, and that's what Frida Kahlo was about. So kudos.
So I think we got time for like one more. Um, what else? What else have you got in the grab bag?
All right, I want to spotlight one of the smaller films of the festival. It's called The Scout, not to be confused with the '90s film about Yankee pitchers with Brendan Fraser and Albert Brooks. This is a very small independent film, written and directed by Paulo Gonzalez Nasser, and it's very inside baseball for people like you and me. This is about a location scout on a television program in New York City. Our friend and colleague E.G. Argenio, that's his main line. He's been doing this work for years. I'm sure he could see this and attest to everything that's going on in this. Mimi Davila, who is an actress and producer, she did some voice work in the Spider-Verse movies. She plays Sophia. She's the star. This is a character study, not a straight narrative story. Basically, Sophia is a location scout. She goes all over New York City, putting flyers in people's doors, calling people, answering messages, coordinating all over the city to basically rent out people's homes for location shooting. She's working on, like a Law and Order style TV pilot. And there's a bit of dark humor in the idea of they're searching all these places like, where is this a good a good murder scene? Is this a good place to find a dead body? Like there's a little bit of dry dark humor in that. But this is very much, a day in the life of this person who does very far below the line work in our industry. And it kind of shows like, people think this business is glamorous, and it is, but there are days when it is just a job like any other, and days where it feels like a slog. And that's what she's there to do. She's talking to people, she's hearing their stories, while she's also trying to take in the information about different pieces of decor and furniture in someone's living room, you know, trying to think if it works for, to be the apartment of this character or this character, while also just dealing with people who are angry, annoyed, belligerent, and still trying to have a life in all this. It's this is a person who easily works a 12 to 14-hour day, you know, caravanning herself all over New York. I mean, she starts in Brooklyn, then she's in Manhattan, later on she's in Rockaway. She's going all over the place to find these potential locations. And you can just feel it. If you whether you work in our industry or not, like we've all had those days where no matter what you do, it's not good enough. The meeting she has when the location managers and the art directors and the camera people come by and say, I don't like this credenza. I don't like these doilies. These are terrible doilies. It's like, why is this room painted this color? It's like, and you just want to sit there and scream. It's like, these are people's homes. Is like, you're not going to get perfection. If you want perfection, build a dang set. Employ more people to build a set. If that's what you want. If you have an exact image in your mind, you have to create that. You can't depend on others to create it for you, but they still act that way. And there's days where you just want to scream and smack people. It happens in our industry, it happens in every industry. And that's why I kind of love this film. Is like, again, it's very small. I'm honestly kind of surprised that it didn't screen at New York or Brooklyn or Tribeca, because this is a very New York movie. I mean, there's a moment where every New Yorker who watches it, they will just lower their head, their heart will sink when she gets her car booted. It's like she parks near Times Square, runs to a meeting that she's late for, and by the time she's done and comes back, there's the boot. And she has to call at like 7 at night, hope to God she can talk to a human, talk to a computer, somehow pay $400 in fines just to get the code to snap the boot off the car so she can go home. It's like every New Yorker knows that danger. Every New Yorker with a car has been through that. Hell, I've never lived in New York City. I've lived upstate, but I've driven through the city enough times to be like, oh my God. So you can just feel every ounce of frustration she has throughout this. You know, kind of like a movie version of Clerks. Like you know exactly what this person is going through, whether you've experienced it yourself or you know someone who has. Uh, So to put that against the backdrop of something that seems more highfalutin, more artistic, more creative, that as something like film and TV, as like, yeah, we can have these movies uh where Ethan Hawke chews the scenery for 2 hours in expert fashion. But then there are the 1,000 people below him working 20-hour days to make sure he can do that for 2 minutes in a take. And that's what Sophia does here. That's what Mimi Davila does here. This is what Paula Gonzalez Nasser does here as the writer and director. I was fascinated by this. It it really does show the normalcy of what we do. And again, having our friend and colleague EJ, someone I've known for over 20 years, knowing that this is his line of work, and he's done it on high profile films like You Hurt My Feelings and Venom: The Last Dance. Like he does this really well, like to the point where he's sustaining this as part of his career, and is like, yeah, we still all have those days. The grinder and the ringer that you have to go through in jobs like this, it can still be very rewarding, especially when it works out and you find the location that they say, okay, we're gonna shoot here, and we're gonna shoot here for 5 days, and we're gonna pay the homeowner $1,000 for their time. Those are the little rewards that come with these jobs. The reason, especially in our industry, the reason why we keep doing it, because it is that rewarding when it works. But yeah, there are times when you really gotta just slog through it, pick your battles, agree with everything that someone is saying, even if you think it's complete, BS. There's a lot more to it than just the 9 to 5, basically. And I was just kind of floored at how well this group got it across with a very small cast and a very small crew.
All right, man. That sounds like a movie I could talk about all day. Last year I was on a movie. We shot at a location in somebody's house, and it was not easy. But I do kind of wonder if a movie like that might be a little bit too inside baseball for most people, like who don't work in the industry. It sounds like it was kind of made just for people who do.
I mean, like I said, I think it's very translatable to any industry, any you know non-executive job that people do, whether it's blue collar, white collar, no collar. And I'll correct myself from earlier. It did screen at Tribeca as well, but I would have assumed it would have been at every New York-based film festival because again, New York definitely is a character in this film. So yeah, it's very relatable. Even though, yeah, you would think it's inside baseball. This is a role that a lot of people, even those who are film aficionados, don't really think about because there's really no award for location scouting. You know, the Oscars are getting a casting category next year and a stunt category the year after that, but there's still so many tens of thousands of below the line jobs that will never get that kind of recognition. This is the yeoman's work that helps this get done. And, you know, we have the cliche of unsung heroes. Well, here's one right in front of you for what we do. But again, easily translated to just about anything else.
Thanks so much for doing this. Man, you really kick out the jams with these. You see so many movies, and you're able to review them, and it's you do such a great job. I really appreciate you. But I got to wrap up. But before we go, For people who want to find your reviews, see more review, where can they find you online?
The blog is actually paid.com. The Twitter and the YouTube is actually underscore paid. Blue Sky actually paid. You can find me pretty much anywhere there, and of course, occasionally you find me on this program, so yay if you're watching.
And that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for taking this trip down the rabbit hole. For more of our content, visit norestfortheweekendpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube, youtube.com/getbehindtherabbit. I'd like to thank Bill Hammon and our sponsors, BlackMagic Design and the Tonkawa Film Festival. For Behind the Rabbit Productions and the BTRP Media Network, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This is the BTRP Media Network.